Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tronage, and today we're going to be talking about Quad Box for August 2019. Want to know what's inside this? Really, and it's got some weight to it too. Want to know what's inside? Stick around. Alright guys, I got my Quad Box for August. It was like back to back right after I got my drone drop. So I am super excited. Now one thing I gotta say is this feels like it's got a little bit of heft to it. I mean, not terribly. It doesn't feel like super heavy, but it just feels a little bit heavier than normal. So I'm very, very curious to know what is inside. So to give you a little rundown of what we're going to do, we're going to crack this open. I'm going to bring you all in close and we're going to look at what's inside here. Then we're going to do a little bit of a cost analysis and see, is it worth what you paid, or did you get a little bit extra, or is it kind of a bad choice? Who knows? We'll find out when we do it together. But before we do that, slam that subscribe button. While you're at it, hit that bell icon. Makes finding these videos a whole heck of a lot easier, and it keeps you in the know when I post videos like this one. All right, so why don't you come in close and let's crack it open. All right, we have our Quad Box all nice and ready to be cut open. We do the old-fashioned flipperoo. We cut that seal. Do a little pre-open action, flip it back around. Make sure we're all lined up. You ready? I'm ready. Here it comes. Ooh. All right, so we're seeing some dowel props here right off the bat. These are looking pretty cool. The color is pretty nifty, actually. I'm going to take a little closer look at these, just for the color's sake. Wow, this might have like a little bit of UV action going on to it, because it's looking a little day glowy. We'll have to see that in the sunlight, but that's looking pretty cool yellow there. We got Dial Cyclone 5145s, if you so please, right there, with the little po-po action going on as well. So that is cool. And we have 1, 2, 3 sets of those. Awesome. Now we have the t-shirt. Let's take a look at this t-shirt. I'm going to open it up right here so we can see what it says. And it's the classic FPV mantra of build it, crash it, and repeat. Because that is what we do. And if you skip this step, you're not a true FPVer. Okay, maybe you are, and you're just that epically good. But I do this a lot because I'm a normal human being. But anyway, cool shirt. What else we got? We got a sticker sheet. Pretty cool stuff here. Loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Getting rid of this paper because I don't want to see any spoilers. So we're going to skip right over that. Next up, we have, looks like some LEDs. Okay, so what we got here, I don't know if these are what brand they are because I don't see a brand nor a label on these. But essentially what these are, they're very similar to the motor wire, razor wire, I forget what it's called. But it's a PCB board that you use for your motors along the arms of your quad. But what this is it has LEDs on it. So you have your 3 motor wires that go on one end, the 3 motor wires that go to the other end, and that powers your LEDs. It is a pretty nifty thing. And these are all in the color of green. So they aren't, addressable or anything. They just, when you power up your quad and you're flying around, they just turn on and light up. And they gave you a little shrink wrap here for it after you hook them up on your quad. That is a pretty nifty thing, and I've seen these a lot, and I've wanted to play with them a little bit, but I never had a chance to pick some up. Now I got them to try them out. And lastly, we got something from HGLRC, which is one of my faves. It is the boost item. Let's see, it's a 4-in-1 BL Heli 3240 amp ESC. This is actually really cool thing to have got, because normally we usually get like flight controllers or motors and stuff. But really, it's been a long while that I can remember since we've gotten an ESC, let alone a 4-in-1 ESC. And that is pretty cool. And it's a BLHeli32, which means you have all those fancy features that comes with. 40 amps. You know it's going to be a powerhouse. It's got a very large low ESR capacitor I can see right here in the package. I am super duper thrilled. So we'll have to take a look and see what the price is on this to see if it makes this box as awesome as it seems, because sometimes just because it seems good doesn't mean it's good to your wallet. So to recap, we got the 4-in-1 ESC, we got the motor wire LED thingies, sticker sheet, we got the pretty cool, awesome black shirt because we love the black shirts, at least I do, and we got the Dahl Cyclone props. Bam! So let's run some numbers and see what we get. All right, guys, we have some amazing value. I ain't kidding you. I'll let that speak for itself. Now, we'll go line by line, but I'm sure you're going to go a lot quicker than I am, and you're going to see where that bottom line is. Spoiler alert, pretty freaking cool. All right, let's go line by line, though. So we got our Dahl Cyclones here. Love these props, love the Dahl Cyclone. Usually I'm flying like a 50-50 or a 50-47, so this is like a 51-45, so it's a little bit less of a pitch, but a little bit bigger of a prop. So I'm kind of intrigued to give these guys a tryout, so I'm pretty psyched about that. And again, thank you for now switching back to all the same props. So we have 3 bags of props to actually evaluate and see if we like this prop. So I think that is a good move, and thank you. Next up, we have the quad wire, which is basically, it's like the FPV noise race wire, but then it's got some LEDs stuck on here, but it's really generic, and I found it on a China website that you can buy them. They're a dime a dozen, and I don't mean a dime a dozen literally, but they're relatively cheap. They're like $6 and change and whatnot. But it's still a pretty cool little bonus item. It is the wild card item in this box. It's something that I've been wanting to like play with a little bit, and it's pretty cool to have it. Now, one question that may come up is obviously you just wire it up. You just put it between your motor wires. So you got 3 motor wires coming out of your ESC, and you got 3 motor wires on your motor. Guess where this goes? You got it. It goes right between those 2, and that's it. You don't have to really do anything else. So it acts like protection from cutting your wires, because really all it's going to end up doing is cutting the LEDs, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if it functions when the LEDs get smashed out. So that's yet to be tested or known, but I would think so. I would think the wires are just straight through, and the LEDs are sort of like a little bit of icing and cherry on top, I guess. But they're really cool. Now on the edge, on the long edge of each of these, there are 3 additional pads. And people may say, well, what are those 3 little additional pads for? So what those 3 pads are is it lets you hook up a second set of these onto the bottom of your quad. The way it works out, you have your 3 wires from your motor, your 3 wires from your ESC, and you put one piece between those 2. Then the 3 little pads on the side, you'd connect to a second one and just wrap it around. That's it. So that second one doesn't need the motor wire portion connected. It just needs those 3 little wires to just wrap around to the bottom. Now they've only included 4 in this set, so there's really only enough to put on 1 on each of your arms. Or if you wanted to get fancy, you could do 2 arms with 1 on each side. Or you'd have to go and buy a second set from wherever, and then you could do that thing. But just some people ask what those little pads are on the side, and I'm here to tell you what they're for. Also, the color being green is a pretty cool color, because greens and yellows and pinks are kind of my Tronage colors, and purples too. I kind of throw those in also. So I'm pretty happy to have gotten green. I don't know if you would get green. Your mileage may vary. I got green. What's also nice is it does come with the little shrink wrap. So after you solder up all your motor wires, it has the shrink wrap right there so you can shrink it on so you don't have to worry about it shorting out. Because remember, do not put these directly on your carbon fiber, because carbon fiber, yes, that's right, boys and girls, it is electroconductive. So if you put these directly onto your carbon fiber, you probably will have a short out somewhere down the line. So make sure when you hook these up, you put the shrink tubing that's included here with it on it, so that when you put it down onto the carbon fiber, it's fully insulated. That being said, let's move on to this 4-in-1 ESC. So this is sort of an interesting place that we are right now with this, because it's a custom 4-in-1 ESC. What do I mean by that? Well, if you go to the HGLRC website, you cannot find that 4-in-1 ESC. It does not exist to purchase from the general public. They have a 60 amp version of that 4-in-1 ESC. It looks the same, connector for everything, red PCB. Everything about it looks physically the same, except it's rated for 60 amps, not 40 amps. The closest thing I could come to that's 40 amps and BLHeli32 is actually their 4-in-1 ESC that's for the XJB. And it's a little bit cheaper of a price. It's like 61 something, and I think the 60 amp ESC was like 68 or 69 something. So I said, you know what? For a good average price, let's just average those two 4-in-1 ESCs, because it's pretty much all the punch and power of the 60 amp one, just 40 amps instead of 60 amps, versus the 40 amp version for the XJB. So I just kind of took an average of those two prices, and that's where I came to the $65. However, that is a very high ticket item. So for all of you who are like, oh, I'm going to unsubscribe to Quadbox, well, guess what? You may have missed out. Now, granted, you may not be a fan of HGLRC products. I'm freaking a fanboy of HGLRC products and love them. Love the XJB, love the Arrow 3. I just can't get enough of them. So now having this ESC, I'm thinking I might even see if I pair that up with that Mamba that I got in the last FPV crate. Might be a good pairing. I don't know. I've got to think about it for a little bit, but it's kind of cool that I just got a flight controller that needed a 4-in-1 ESC, and now I just got a 4-in-1 ESC that could use a flight controller. Maybe I just, and off we go. So it is a very interesting time because Quadbox is back with, at least in my opinion, amazing value. And speaking of amazing value now, let's take a look at the comparison of how these boxes are doing between Quadbox, Drone Drop, and FPV crates. So there it is. Let it soak in for a moment. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to give you a little quick tour. See the green boxes? That designates who's in the lead for whatever that column is. So that first column is 2018. It's what happened last year between Drone Drop and Quadbox. FPV crate didn't exist, so they're not in that column. That next column is basically what has happened all of 2019 from January to August. And you can see Drone Drop kind of took the lead and now officially regained by Quadbox. And I did say in my previous videos, August was going to be very, very interesting. And this is why. Because Quadbox realized they're falling back a little bit. They turned it up a notch and gave us some amazing value. Don't feel like FPV crate's getting left out in the dust at the bottom there with the little $89, because we got to look at, they've only had 2 boxes. They started in July. So just so we could see what's going on, as an even Steven starting in July. That's why that third column exists. That's basically just what's been going on from July forward so that everyone's on an even playing field. And yes, FPV crate is still in the lead box for box, but only by a couple of dollars. So with as great of that first box FPV crate has had, 2 boxes in, Quadbox is nipping at their heels, man. So, there was a couple rough boxes from Quadbox, but my faith has been renewed. Yes. And then obviously that last column is just the totals. So overall, since February of 18, what's been going on? You can see in the totals, Quadbox has produced overall, on average, the highest value. So that's why I'm always like, yay, Quadbox. Now, granted, full disclosure, I am not paid to say what I say. I do not get these boxes for free. I reach into my pocket, pull out my credit card, and I buy them just like you do. I just happen to be some guy who likes making videos about unboxing them. I present the facts, and I present, you know, the cost analysis of what's in these boxes, and I keep a running total so that you guys can kind of make educated purchases and know what you're getting into and stuff. Remember, these are mystery boxes, which means you do run the risk. It could be something great. It could be something terrible. It could be something you really want. It could be something you don't even care about. But that's the power of a mystery box. You'll always have some form of good value. It's just the contents may kind of stink and the value may not always be there. But usually then after you get a couple that are kind of duds, you'll get one like this that's pretty high up, because this is like a $50 over the cost box. I mean, come on, that's pretty darn up there with like the top 5 kicking boxes. I gotta say, it's pretty sweet deal. So hope to help you out, got you some good information here, maybe renewed your faith within Quadbox, because I know my faith has been renewed. And which of these boxes are right for you? Again, I don't know that information. That's something that you'll have to decide for yourself. I present the facts and the figures. You can take from that as you will and make an educated decision, because that's when you have a powerful buyer, is an educated buyer. And that's what I try to help you guys do. Get into this hobby and know what you're doing. All right. So as always, my name is Tronage. Fly strong.